Gamers have ranted about games since the dawn of time, but now one man looks to give them a voice, to be their champion, and bring their concerns directly to the publishers in an open letter. Game developers either hate him or love him, but none can deny his intentions to improve our favorite games and their scene. Together, with the power of thousands of gamers, those who would join him and his army will be heard. This is the 5 reasons Resident Evil 5 pissed us off, and how to improve it.
Welcome to most disappointing things about your favorite games and how to improve them. Glad you made it. Now let me start by saying we're not going to bash on these games. Resident Evil 5 in particular is a fun game, and in the end that's all that really matters. We know it's a popular game because it's sold over 1.5 million copies already. This is a game that I would recommend to any fan of an action game or a zombie game. Anyway, this game does a lot of things well, and you can read about those things from your favorite reviewers. But for this series, we're going to do something a little different. If the publishers expect us to buy sequel after sequel, then we should also expect from them a natural evolution of the franchise, adding new features and addressing complaints from the previous games. So come on a journey with us. Let's have fun with it. Put down your fanboy swords for just 1 second and check the video to see if your most disappointing thing made the list. So without further ado, let's do this! These are the most disappointing things about Resident Evil 5. The envelope, please. Dear Capcom, specifically Christensen Sevensen, I'm writing to you because you have been pissing me off lately with your downloadable content tactics. They are BS. And now, it's starting to spill over into one of my favorite franchises, Resident Evil. You see, I just got done playing the game, and while it may have had above average production quality and an epic soundtrack, bravo sirs, I do have some suggestions for you on how to keep out any further BS from this game. Reason number 5.
Inconsistent co-op AI. This is first on our list because it's something that can be fixed by having a partner with a pulse, one of your buddies. But if you're playing solo, it needs to be mentioned. Sheva. 1 minute she's the angel of my eyes, saving my life, helping me get through difficult parts of the game, my better half, my soulmate. But then the next, I can't stand to look at her. She's completely useless, frustratingly stubborn. Yes, she'll assist in the same direction as you, but if she even has a clear view of your rear or to your side, she refuses to help you. I don't know if I'm the only one this has happened to, but sometimes she starts shooting me. I know I said some things behind her back, but come on!
Reason number 4.
Melee system. Epic fail. This ties into our number 2 reason, but it gets its own mention here because of how much you'll actually be using it, since ammo is rare and far between. Shadow CK from the GameSpot forum says, first of all, when you unsheathe your knife, the camera snaps back, leaving most of Chris's body to block almost half the screen, so you can't see what you're slashing and hacking at. Not only can you not see what you're trying to stab, but remember, you can't move either, which means you have to stand there and wait for the enemy to come at you. I completely agree with him. And what's more is when you hit a zombie, that zombie falls backward, and then you have to put it away, step towards them, whip it back out again, and attack again. The enemy's reach seems much further than your own, especially on some of the more difficult ones. Now, I could try to make excuses for the other reasons, on how you gotta stand still while firing to aim to get off that steady, controlled shot to raise tension. But staying still while using a knife, that's BS. And speaking of BS...
Reason number 3.
The BS DLC debate.
Okay, here's the story on this one. This all started over the downloadable content for Resident Evil 5, the Versus mode.
I had to include this as a reason because it pisses me off so much and can be a hot button issue with nearly every gamer. If you haven't heard, Capcom basically told you guys, the gamers, that your complaints are BS. If you don't like what they do, don't buy their stuff. That's not very smart for a company who makes games to tell gamers to piss off. So here's the story. Christian Sevenson, Vice President of Strategic Planning and Business Development for Capcom, said, and I quote, "This is the part where I get to say BS. Secondly, whenever we do downloadable content, that content exists within its own budget, its own profit and loss analysis, so to speak, with its own forecasts. If it didn't, that extra content wouldn't have been put into production because it did not fit within the original production budget of the base product." Bullshit.
It's not in the budget? You better hope this thing is not some sort of unlockable that unlocks content that's already on the disc. It's time now for an Angry Joe suggestion. Shut your mouth! This guy calling BS everywhere makes me wonder, does everybody at Capcom talk this way? Let's find out. I'm gonna send 2 good friends of the Angry Joe Show down to their headquarters.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey!
I want you both to listen to me, okay? Listen good. I know why you're here.
You're here to complain about our DLC tactics as of late.
So don't BS a BSer, okay? So don't BS me right now, okay?
I don't understand. How are we BSing you?
Exactly. I'm BS proof.
Because I have been trained by my boss, Christian.
And that way I can use my BS fly swatter to swat away the flies. That is your BS. Okay. Any questions?
Why is this such a big deal, you may ask? Well, at least that's what Christian thinks. Why are people voicing their concerns? Well, I think it's because people don't want to be screwed out of money. People have a valid point to question. Was this planned from the very beginning? Anyway, let's hear from the gamers themselves.
Dartmark says, "Are you seriously complaining about $5? Don't buy it if you don't want it." Off Day says, "No one's bitching about whether or not they have to buy the downloadable content. Any idiot can see that you have 2 choices, buy it or don't. People are bitching because Capcom feels they have the right to charge consumers for something that has been included with 99% of games since the beginning, and done much better. I can guarantee that." Finally, we have a comment from Player66 who says this, "I think Chris Sevenson is a caca duty head since we're all name-calling."
Well put, Player66. Well put. So this guy thinks we're BSing. Well, I'm not BSing. Are you BSing? No. You know who I think is BSing? Capcom and this guy. With his profit and loss analysis explanation and his it's not in the budget explanation. Maybe that would have made a little bit of sense if this wasn't the same company that pulled that crap with the Street Fighter costumes.
Yeah, I'm sure it took 1,000 man-hours to code each of those. And then it didn't fit within the initial budget. Gee, I wonder how all the other fighting games in the past have gotten away with giving us alternate costumes. I don't know. But now they gotta charge us 320 Microsoft points a pop. There's like 4 or 5 packs. That smells like BS. Anyway, let's check in with our friends and see if they've made any progress at Capcom.
Sick thoughts. I used to have sick thoughts. So don't you come in here preaching to me about
Downloadable content?
when you're standing over there and you're standing over there and I don't know which way is up.
Should come back. We can come back.
Oh, and fellas, do me a favor. Next time you want to bullshit me, bullshit each other instead. Okay? See how that feels.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Whoa, that is not cool, Capcom. To treat my friends like that, not cool. You need to be one of the good examples for DLC. Don't be one of the bad examples.
Anyway, that needed to be mentioned. But this particular downloadable content versus mode, it sits right on the fence, which is why it's caused so much debate. But for me, it's a no-go. I mean, how much fun could Resident Evil 5 be in versus multiplayer anyway? The game isn't set up for it. I mean, you have to stop and stand still and exchange gunfire or knife slashes. I guess it would sort of be like this.
Reason number 2.
Terrible controls. You either hate them or you deal with them. Not one of us can actually say with a straight face that they love these controls. A game's controls should not get in the way of the player. Your game's controls pull me out of this amazing cinematic, larger-than-life experience far too many times. You can shoot a zombie's head over and over and over, but it won't pop. But then by then, you've run out of ammo, which leads you to open up the god-awful, clunky inventory system while the zombie is still walking towards you, and then you hurry up and you close the inventory system, and then you do what a highly trained special ops soldier would do. Turn around and run. Was this designed in the game, focusing on how to navigate through an inventory system in real time, rather than trying to focus on the visceral, horrifying experience of being run down by infected, bloodthirsty killers?
And finally, good sirs, reason number 1.
More action, less survival? One thing that is being echoed over and over by all the reviewers is how this game is evolving in a new direction, moving away from survival horror and into pure action, a move they aren't quite so sure about, and one I know I don't like. Leave that to the other action games. Do what you do best. Be Resident Evil. If you want to bring the franchise closer to the action genre with things like fewer puzzles, design mass battles, and versus competitive mode, then do exactly that. Get rid of the nonsensical controls and just set the game free from its shackles.
This is my thing right here. Why not give an action mode and a survival mode? Make the current controls default and call that one survival mode. If you designed these restrictions in the game on purpose to create tension, leave that here. But if in the options screen you allow the player to choose an action mode that lets them move while they attack, not only will you be able to add a bullet to the back of the game box, but you offer a whole new way for players to experience Resident Evil. And I hardly see how it would take thousands of lines of code to remove the restrictions that force your player to stay in place while attacking. It shouldn't be very hard. Let's see these in Resident Evil 6.
Go back to making this an experience. Scare me. Make me feel claustrophobic again. Do all those things we know and love about Resident Evil 1 and 2. Stop making me angry!
Nevertheless, none of these have deterred me from recommending this game to others. However, now that you know these reasons, you have no excuse. None. What you do with this information from the gamers is up to you. But know that we will be watching. Sincerely, Angry Joe and your paying customers, the gamers. Remember, Resident Evil 5 is not a bad game. That's not what I'm trying to point out here. I'm trying to point out things that we can do to make it better. For Resident Evil 6, I think it was really hard to start this video series on a game like Resident Evil 5, but we gave it our best shot. Is your list a lot different from us? Let me know. Put it in the comments. Send me a message. Did you disagree with everything I said, which I find hard to believe because we made some good points? Put all your comments down here. And let's hear from you what games you want to see in the next video. It's time now for an Angry Joe suggestion. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. This is the part where I get to call BS, bitches!